G'day and welcome to the Infronters. I'm Execute. Today I'm joined by Mr. Paul Shelley. How you doing, bud?
Hey, doing
And
good.
and Seerthe, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Right, so everyone's had a bit of a break since the anniversary sale, so it's kind of good to get back on the horse again. Um, and today we're also going to be talking about the Crusader Ares. We've had a lot of speculation going through the community, and I think I'll start with Paul. Tell us your thoughts, and I know you've got a bit of lore background to fill us in on.
Yeah. For those of you guys who don't know about the Crusader Industries ships, they started showing up with the Genesis Starliner, which was sold in concept way back. And the Genesis Starliner was supposed to have several variants, at least in lore variants. And those variants was the Star Lifter, the Star Seeker, and the Star Hunter. The Star Lifter ended up becoming its own ship, the A2 Hercules Starlifter, and the C2 Hercules. Then the Star Seeker kind of got folded into the Star Runner, the Mercury ship, as kind of like an E-War type ship. And so that leaves the Star Hunter, which is supposed to be, according to lore, an upcoming patrol hunter killer variant of the Star Liner. So that's directly pulled from the lore about that. So the Star Hunter likely is something like possibly like a hammerhead, like a mini version of a hammerhead, maybe a somewhere between a Cutlass Blue and a hammerhead in terms of police patrol, maybe some kind of larger bounty hunting ship. Because they specifically use the term hunter killer variant of that, and since they seem to be going down that line of variants being from the Genesis Starliner variant line, turning those into regular ships. The Ares being the god of war, that makes sense.
Yeah, I can say that. Yeah, I can get behind that. I think there is a need for a bounty hunter ship like that as well. There's not really a group mentality bounty hunter ship at the moment, if you get my drift. They're kind of individual ships that kind of work together. Even the Cutlass and the Stalker, they kind of like are just for carrying multiple prisoners. They're not really for the actual bounty hunters themselves working together. So yeah, I can kind of see that. Mr. T. Oh, I mean, see it. What are your thoughts on? Sorry,
So
I had to. I couldn't help
it's
it.
okay.
I couldn't help it.
I'm not worried.
You have a head for bald. It works well. So I was going to say that. I do not. If I went bald, I'd look like a giant onion. Is what I'd look like.
I'm the Black Dr. Eggman. That's
Yeah.
all I'll say. But
Oh dear. Sorry.
I agree with what Paul has to say for the most part, because I mean it all lines up. I was doing my own research because I was like, well, why did they name it the Pisces and everything? I was trying to see if I could connect anything with the Pisces that would help me align myself toward what the Aries is all about. And I also did my own little lore thing. Well, I didn't do my own little. I did my own research because Crusader Industries is actually, in fact, my favorite ship manufacturer.
Okay. Cool.
So
Didn't know that. That's good to know.
the the one thing I know for sure is rather than the Star Hunter, we also have a unnamed refueling ship.
Right.
And I don't think this is going to be the refueling ship we are going to get. But the only reason I bring this up because people are like, "Sir, what are you talking about? It's Ares. That sounds like war." Well, according to the recent jump point we got, it talked about server-side OCS. It talked about the bartender. It also talked about the Hercules altogether and gave us a little bit more insight about the lore. With that being said, it talked about the Genesis Starliner, as Paul said, and it also talked about how they made the variants, and it gave example of the Mercury, and it gave example of the Star Lifters, but it also said they had a refueling ship that was also a variant. I don't know why Ares would be named that, so maybe it's a combat refueler because we have the Starfarer Geminis, which let's be honest, they've turned to these big refining ships because they lost their ability to gather quantum matter on their own. You need other means necessary, be either FPS mining, prospectors, soon to be mole, or the Orion. Pick your poison, or even that cute little rover we saw during CitizenCon, which 100% they should make, especially with the refining ship out of all those ships that we saw. That's a different subject. Sorry.
Yep.
I think
It's fine. It's fine.
I either want it to be the gunship we deserve that could be a competitor with the Redeemer, or I really want it to be a refueling ship because of everything they said with, hey, 3.8 and 9, we're going to be adding fuel. 4.0 is going to be salvage and stuff like that.
My only reason I would never well, not never, but like kind of consider against that is the name of the
Yeah,
Ares.
that's
But
exactly why.
I still think the law post that you are referring to heavily suggests that down the line there is at least a refueling variant potentially coming, and I think also seeing what happened to the Starfarer Gemini earlier in the year, it points to that as well. Yeah. Okay. So the
Yeah,
other,
those are my 2 cents.
a lot of the community, and I've seen people like Board talk about this, and a few other people, is a fighter of some description. So, what are your thoughts on that as in a fighter? Mine
I'm
leans
sick of
away from.
fighters.
Not only am I sick of it, but I also lean away from that, and I kind of point to Paul here to ask him, law wise, Crusader tend to make larger ships, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Not only do they make larger ships, they tend to make large engines. Is their big thing.
Yep, they make the large thrusters, and they make family ships. That was a main thing.
Right.
It's they mostly you can think of them as kind of like Boeing,
Right.
but more, but without its military division.
Right.
It's mostly focused on civilian craft, and I could see something like Crusader building something like the Star Hunter as a means to basically using pieces they already have to make something that would service their own needs for things like security, since the Stanton system is a mess in lore. It does not make sense. Fighting the fighter from Crusader does not make sense. That would be they do not make those size ships.
Okay.
The reason why, for instance, like the Crusader Industries exists in Stanton
Yep.
on the gas giant is because of the weird gravity eddies that
Yep.
happen in the upper atmosphere, which allows them to essentially build ships in semi-zero G
Yep.
while in atmosphere.
Yep.
So
Huge
the, like
Large
and
ships. The
large
larger
ships.
there.
They
That's
wouldn't
the
they
main
wouldn't
thing.
their shipyards aren't built for smaller ships. It doesn't. They wouldn't. They're not that kind of manufacturer. It would be a huge change. It could be it, but it would be completely out of left field for a manufacturer like Crusader to do that.
Yep.
I 100% agree.
So I've found some stuff. I've talked to Algrid about it. I've talked to Dyson about it. I haven't had a chance to talk to Cyrus, and I didn't have a chance to talk to either of you gentlemen as well. But I want to show you what I found, and I want to get your take on what you think I found. And I've probably found nothing, but maybe I found something. And when I was watching, I'm going to bring this thumbnail up here down the bottom. This is directly taken from YouTube. This is from the me, myself, and UI panel. And in that panel, he talks about a whole bunch of stuff, but specifically this thumbnail, if you read in the center column there, you can see that it says different colors of Ares, and it actually says Ares armor below that as well, in every single color variant. And I kind of went to Titan suits, believe it or not. And then I started thinking about Crusader and making larger ships. And then what I ended up going to, after I went through all these Titan suit stuff with Algrid, right before we ended our conversation, I said, what if it's a Titan suit deployment ship? And that might even lead back to the name Ares God of War, not to mention the Titan suits themselves, but also what you were talking about. What did you call it? The Hunter Killer variant? Or whatever
It's
you call
called
it?
in lore. It's specifically called a Hunter Killer variant.
Yeah, that to me
The
sounds
Star
like a squadron of Titan suits, but I don't know. I'm just chucking stuff and see if it'll stick. So
There is one thing though. One thing. I mean, the only reason I could see them with suits is because of we actually have at the Boeing factory at the 737 an ergonomic exoskeleton suit.
right,
They're a ship manufacturer in higher atmosphere, and I kid you not, some of the employees have actually used these exoskeleton suits so it could help them ease the pain when they're reaching up and working on something. When I used to work up in the tool, all the people on the lower part of the fuselage that worked up, they
yep,
use the exoskeleton. What's
yep,
stopping these employees from Crusader using an exoskeleton while they're working on these ships, and now they're selling it for civilian
okay,
use?
okay.
Mhm.
I'd say maybe just because of the name Ares, but yeah, I'm not too sure. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm hearing that there's multiple things that could be here. I find it really hard thing for me to personally nailed down. And yeah, is there anything else you guys want to add in relation to your thoughts, or no? We'll call it there. It's been very short and sweet. Then, if that's the case, that's one of the shortest videos we've done in a while. But yeah, if you like this video, Also, let us know your thoughts in the comments on and your speculations. Do you think anything merits to the things that we've suggested here today? Like Paul's idea of the lore, I think is really spot on. It makes a lot of sense to me. Stuff the Seer said, even if I don't entirely agree with Seer, I think he's on point. There's definitely another Crusader ship in the works along those lines anyway, regardless if this is it or not. I do agree on the fact about the refueler. What do you think about what I've said about the Titan suits and maybe even a Titan dropship variant, which I think could be rather interesting? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Is there anything else? Discord, yeah, hit us up on Discord. Discord's been really active over the sale. We had a lot of people that we helped with the anniversary, and that was really, I really enjoyed helping, and we got a whole bunch of new people that joined us, which was really nice. All right, he's been Paul. He's been Mr. T. Oh, sorry, I gotta do it. It's really good. You need to do the line. I forgot what the line is.
I pity the fool.
Yeah, that's the one. I pity the fool. All right. And we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you very much.